Well, hi everybody. It's George, and I am continuing to make some progress regarding my old Yamaha Seca 750. This is, oh hey, there's my two guard dogs. They stand guard over our homes and domicile. That's Zeus and Apollo. And they'll tear your toes off if you ever get too close. There you go. Anyway, the old Yamaha, every time I walk past it, I go into the backyard, go through that door, and I look at it, and I take a few more things off. So far, I've removed what you can see here. So the tank, the front fender, the fairing windshield, both side covers, the seats, the tail lights. I pulled out the filter. Yeah, I've done a bit. I've ordered a few more little parts for it. I've ordered some braided brake lines for the front. They come in a four-piece set for the front. I'm a little concerned. I had to order them from the States. I tried to order them through a Canadian company, but they didn't have them. So whenever I order stuff from the States, it seems that I get charged not only the cost of my exchange from Canadian dollars into American, but I also get charged duty at the border. And it makes things really expensive to try and bring things in from the United States. So just a few updates. I talked to you last time about the fact that this lock, I thought there was another key for it. Well, stupid me, I didn't even try this. But I found out that it is original to the bike, as most of you probably know. And guess what? It works. If you give it a twist, even though it's a little stiff, it will come off. There we go. It comes out actually in one large piece. And I guess the idea here is you can lock up your back tire if you want, or on the other hand, because it comes out in one piece, you can wrap it around the frame and let's say a light pole or something like that you've got it close by, or another friend's bike, and you can secure it in that way. So there's a few things that you can do. Now, this is the third Yamaha that I have refurbished over the course of my time. The first one I had was a Yamaha 700 cruiser, like the Maxim. I think it was an XJ 700. It was a 700 because that year that they made that one, which I think was 75, the Americans had closed, or had imposed a duty on all motorcycles above 750 cc's, and so the Japanese figured they would just drop the displacement a little to get it underneath the additional duty costs. So that's what I had. I had a 700. And I didn't go into it in quite as much detail as what I'm doing this bike, nor into as much detail as I did my last motorcycle. Not my last one, second last one. I had a Yamaha 1981 Yamaha 550. Another racer. It didn't have the bikini fairing on it like this one does. The sport fairing, but I looked for it. I found one, but then the guy wanted way too much money for it, somewhere down in the States, and so I decided to pass on it. But anyway, and it turned out really nice. Now, if I can ever figure out how to put photos on my YouTube channel, I will post some of the photos of my previous motorcycles, and you will get an idea of what I've owned in the past. Anyway, so probably the bike that I've owned longest has been my old 1400 Suzuki Cavalcade. I had it for, I would say over 10 years, and I put at least 100,000 kilometers on it over the course of that time, and loved that old bike. It was getting pretty hard to maintain, and the parts were growing a bit scarce, and although I had some sources for them in the States, for parts in the States, I I just kind of grew tired of having to put so many hours of maintenance in it, and so as a result I sold it. And when I sold it, I bought my 650 Honda Nighthawk, and again I have pictures of that renovation, that restoration. I can post on this YouTube channel if I can figure out how. And anyway, and then I've got this one now, this Seca. So as I said, I have removed a number of bits and pieces from it, which you can see right here. Now let me just show you a little bit of what I've got. First, the fender came off, and surprise, surprise, it's steel, which is not what I had expected. I thought it would be plastic, but it's not. It's steel. I didn't even check before I started removing it. Now, it does have a missing bolt, but I can easily replace the bolt. It's in very good condition in the sense that although the paint needs to be redone, I don't see any obvious bruises or contusions on this bike, on this fender. The same thing applies to the metal tank. Now I did notice there's a few things on it. Again, it really does need to be painted. It's got some wear marks over the time has gone on. It does need to be painted, and it has a spot up here at the front that is in need of repair. It's not sun damaged. It doesn't appear to be sun damaged. I imagine it's faded at least to some degree, but in comparison to the back tail cover, the tail cover is very faded, and you can see that just as easy as I can on the camera. But again, the tail cover is in really good condition as far as the plastic is concerned. It's just the paint. Now I've got some stuff to remove from that. Yeah, like I indicated earlier, there's a rubber gasket in there. This is the fairing. And as far as the fairing is concerned, again, no cracks that I can see. Just needs to be painted. There is this black section here on the front that surrounds the main headlight, and that can be removed. It's a plastic rubber part, and so I'll be removing that. Also cleaning up a little bit around the top edge where the windshield attaches. Needs some work. But apart from that, I don't see anything that is too, doesn't stand out as help me. So I don't see anything that's just crying out like that. Now I've shown you the side covers, and I'm not planning on showing those to you again. There's this here is the brace for the sport fairing that goes up underneath it. And here I am now looking at the front of the bike with it naked and afraid. I'm going to be removing these turn signals. They're cracked. This one's missing a bolt, which is not hard to replace, but the problem is it's cracked up against the stem, and the same on the other side. Now I'm pretty positive that these were original to the bike. I have no problem buying replacement parts as long as they are somewhere close to the original. And so anyway, as I said, I'm also got some braided steel lines coming for the front. Brakes, I imagine those brake lines have been on this bike since it was brand new, and although I don't see any obvious signs of chafing or wearing or cracking, 40 years is a long time to have a set of brake lines on. And so, and I also do find that the braided steel, although they don't look stock, they certainly they certainly do improve the overall feel of the brakes, and that's what I'm looking for. Now this bike is a little bit different in that it has, this is the clutch, and it's a line that runs, so it's not a hydraulic clutch, it's a mechanically operated clutch with a cable that runs from here right down through to the clutch assembly. But we have over here on this side, another, this is a front brake, and it's got as well a cable, and the cable runs down through into, I anticipate, a master brake cylinder hidden somewhere back in behind here. Again, I don't know for sure. Would be helpful, I suppose, to look at the manual, but anyway, I wouldn't want to do that too soon. So there's somewhere down in there is a brake, a master brake cylinder that cable actuates. I have a feeling it's likely in behind this, behind the headlight assembly. Anyway, I'll find out as time goes on. And oh, one other thing, I'd mentioned earlier that I was going to try and bring this brake, or the battery back. Battery's pooched. When I have the charger on it, I can bring it up to 13 to 14 volts and take the charger off, and it immediately drops to 7 to 8, and then it continues to drop. So it definitely has had its day. So that's what we're finding. So today, again, I'm going to start working, but this time, instead of shutting off the camera and kind of letting you see my end results, I'm going to actually work and hopefully keep the camera running. I don't know if I'll entertain you or not. I guess that's up to you. But certainly, this YouTube video will be somewhat longer than my last two. I've been running around 10 minutes, 10 to 11 minutes. And so this one will be another 10 or 15 minutes of me piddling away here on the bike this afternoon. And anyway, so I'm going to shut it off now, but then I'll turn it on again in just a minute. All right.